You're with Matchday on BBC Radio Suffolk. Ipswich Town are away at Fulham for their first fixture of 2025. Let's join our commentary team at Craven Cottage. Former Town captain Mick Mills is alongside Brenna Woolley.
Well, after rounding off an amazing 2024 in phenomenal style, let's see what 2025 has in store for Ipswich Town. Last Monday's win over Chelsea has undoubtedly increased the confidence of many that the Blues can still be playing Premier League football come the end of the year. So here we are by the Thames as the second half of the season gets underway against a Fulham side that's unbeaten in its last 8 games, albeit 6 of those have ended all square, as it was when these two sides went toe-to-toe at Portman Road in August. It's a good test this for Kieran McKenna's men to see if they can build on the positives that were undoubtedly on show against both Arsenal and Chelsea over the Christmas period. With the FA Cup bringing a pause to the league schedule next weekend, would be nice to see Town head into the little break unbeaten in their last 2. Mick's alongside me, and this is a tough game this for Ipswich Town this afternoon, Mick, isn't it?
Yes, I think so. When I've now we've got to the halfway stage of the season, I've seen most of our games, not all of them, but most of them, and it's not just the top of the Premiership that I've been impressed with. I think we had a certain amount of knowledge about those teams, but it's the middle section that has really sort of hit home to me as to how good this division is, and that would be the likes of Bournemouth, Fulham, Brentford, even Newcastle. I didn't really know too much about Newcastle, and on their day West Ham and Everton were equally as impressive. So they've told me something that this group, how good this division are, and so therefore this game away at Fulham is going to be a tough one. We saw them at Portman Road. It was a good match. Both teams played well, but they were very impressive, and they have gone on to an exceptionally good run just recently. So this is a tough game, but hopefully because of the result against Chelsea, we're up for it and we've got a chance.
Town are in their Tottenham all-pink kit for the second time here this afternoon, hopefully extending that 100% winning record with that particular outfit up against the white of Fulham.
We seem to have lost our connection to Craven Cottage. We'll be back with Brenna Woolley and Mick Mills as soon as we can find them ahead of kick-off in our main feature, Ipswich Town versus Fulham in Matchday. Just to recap on the team news ahead of kick-off, Ipswich Town have made a couple of changes. One forced upon Kieran McKenna. We gather it's a groin problem for Amari Hutchinson. He misses out. Sam Schmoddick's replacing him. Ben Johnson also back in the starting 11 as well for Wes Burns, who drops to the bench. Christian Walton in goal, O'Shea, Wolfenden and Greaves are all starting. Ben Johnson and Leif Davis, the wing-backs. Sam Morsey and Jens Kajuste continue in midfield. Schmoddick's Nathan Broadhead for his second Premier League start of the season, and Liam Delap the front three. One change to the Fulham lineup this afternoon. Tom Kearney comes in for Andreas Pereira, who drops to the bench. And full commentary, fingers crossed, on the way very shortly on BBC Radio Suffolk. Ipswich Town versus Fulham, our main feature. One of 2 Premier League games this afternoon. The other being at Anfield, where Liverpool versus Manchester United does go ahead despite heavy snow in the Merseyside area. The confirmation at midday that one does go ahead this afternoon. We should be back at Craven Cottage very shortly on BBC Radio Suffolk with kick-off about to get underway in just a moment.
Wayne Babin at break.
As I said, if all things were equal, we would.
Ange Postecoglou speaking yesterday. We can now go back to Craven Cottage. Mick Mills and Brenna Woolley back with us.
Yeah, 2.5 minutes gone. Nothing happened as of yet. Ipswich Town and Pink coming forward now off to the right-hand side. Smodics, low attempted ball into the Fulham area. Town playing from left to right, incidentally, away from a good 3,000 perhaps travelling supporters behind the goal off to our left, in front of which is Walton in yellow. When there's a break and play, we'll run you through the 2 teams. Iwobi down the left-hand side, the Nigerian former Everton player. His back heel keeps the ball in only for Ben Johnson. Johnson will have 2 Town changes ahead of kick-off. He and Smodics in the team for the injured Hutchinson. Hopefully nothing too serious. We'll ask Kieran McKenna post-match about that groin problem that Amari Hutchinson's got. Wes Burns is on the bench. As I was saying just before we were rudely interrupted, Town in all pink this afternoon, the winning formula from Tottenham. Town trying to win in the capital twice in the Premier League in one season, for the first time since the inaugural Premier League season, 92-93. It's a long time since that happened. Here are Fulham in midfield with the Serbian Lukic, been a key player for them this campaign. Their one change, Kearney plays it to the left, and Robinson up against Johnson, taking him on. Robinson gets into the Ipswich area. It's a good left back, Anthony Robertson. Johnson gets some much needed help there from Smodic. Smodic's clearance looks towards Delap, won by Anderson. The referee played an advantage. There was a trip by Delap on Anderson. Here is Iwobi. He's having a good season with 5 goals. Now it's Robinson on the left-hand side. Infield to Kearney. Here the home supporters getting behind their side. Lukic plays it to the far side, the Fulham right. It's then tucked back to Diop, one of their 3 centre-halves. Looks like Anderson is playing in the middle of the 3. He's got the ball now, former Crystal Palace player, arrived here in the summer. Here is Bassi, big strong player, the number 3, gets into midfield. Now to the left-hand side, Kearney, the Scottish international, knocks the ball into the Ipswich area, onto the roof of the net. Christian Walton wasn't 100% certain where that one was going. In the end, it's out of harm's way and behind. So I can give you the teams. Walton then in goal for Town, a back 3 of O'Shea, Wolfend and Greaves. The wing-backs are Johnson and Davis, Morsey and Kayuste in midfield, and it's Smodics and Broadhead for supporting Delap. On the bench, Murrich, Burns, Townsend, Jack Clark, Al-Hamadi, Phillips, Taylor, Harry Clark and Burgess. Fulham have Leno in his all blue kit off to our right. His back 3, Diop, Anderson and Bassi. Their wing-backs, Castagna, the far side, that's their right. Robinson, near side, their left. In the middle, Kearney and Lukic. Jimenez is their focal point of their attack. The Mexican striker, Wilson and Iwobi will be busy off him. On the bench, Bender, Cuenca, Sessignon, King, Smith Rowe, Traore, Muniz, Pereira and Godot. There on the far side of the field. Here's the former Leicester man, Timothy Castagna. Infield it goes to Lukic once again, seeing plenty of the ball in these early skirmishes. Still 0-0 on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport. Apologies for the loss of line just before 3 o'clock. Very cramped old press area here at Craven Cottage. Iwobi gives the ball forward to Wilson, former Liverpool player, the Welsh international. He's a very good little footballer. Here is the number 8 once again, Wilson. Another player who's been amongst the goals this season, Lukic. Fulham trying to cause some early problems for Ipswich Town. In comes Wilson's ball, headed away well by O'Shea, who won here with Burnley last season. Here's the American international Robinson. Exchanges passes with Kearney. Back with Robinson on this left-hand side. Now with Tom Kearney once again. Lots of possession for Fulham, as you would expect with 6 on the clock. Now back to Diop in centre field. Anderson had a spell here on loan a few years ago, now a permanent Fulham player. He's been a good signing. Robinson, ball into the Ipswich area, headed away by Luke Wolfenden, who's done well since coming back into the team for these 3 in quick succession against London opposition. Luke Wolfenden, and out for a throw to Ipswich Town. Mick Mills.
Yeah, that was a lot of lengthy spell for Fulham to be in possession, but when you look at Town defending, all those holes that they sort of suffered in sort of offering the opportunity of the opposition to take advantage of, they seem to have completely disappeared. As a unit at the back, since we've gone to the 3 at the back, we look much more secure.
Kearney, clipped by Johnson, referee incidentally Darren Bond. Sent Tron Kearney off in a game earlier on this season. Here is Kearney on the ball. Great challenge from Morsey, wins it for Smodic. Smodic's forward to Delap, one thing in his mind as usual. Delap brings the ball forward, turning 30 yards out, goes to ground, tripped from behind by Lukic. Free kick in a good position in these slick wintry conditions here. Town might fancy this from distance.
Yeah, they will do, and that was a good sort of spell. You know, we're defending in depth, and then all of a sudden we pick up possession with Smodic. He finds Liam Delap, and Delap does that all the time for us. He will keep the ball for a lengthy spell of time, and he's won himself a free kick, and it's a dangerous position for Town.
Fancy in this one at the moment are Broadhead, Morsey and Davis. It's going to be the captain or Davis, because Broadhead's wandered away. Now we are left with just the one, Sam Morsey, standing over this free kick for Ipswich Town, around about 29 yards from the Fulham goal line off to our right, on which Bernd Leno currently crouches, just lining up his wall in the D. Morsey, the number 5, steps back. He's going to knock it to the far corner, into the box it comes, knocked centrally, or that was the attempt from Leif Davis, the left back. Here is Davis again on the far side, on that giant riverside stand which overhangs the Thames. Davis with a good-looking ball in. That's a fabulous cross from the left-hand side. He's entitled to ask why on earth was no one on that.
Yeah, it's a brilliant ball, and Leif Davis is producing that type of ball time and time again this season, and really we've got to anticipate it better.
Robinson with a lovely ball. Fulham nodded into the area. It was Jimenez looking for Wilson. Thankfully, he just evaded him on the stretch, and it's back with Walton. That was a terrific ball in though from Leif Davis, still cutting the mustard at this highest level. Don't know if Thomas Tuchel's here this afternoon, quite possibly watching Liverpool-Manchester United later on, but he watched Tottenham-Newcastle yesterday. Then I don't quite know why he was at Brighton-Arsenal, given I think 2 English players started that game. Ball over the top, Iwobi, lovely control by Wilson inside the Ipswich area, gives it back to Castagna. Good play from Fulham. In comes the cross, diving it away is Davis, controlled on the chest by Delap, one of those players that Tuchel will be looking at some point. Davis goes back to his goalkeeper Walton. Walton first time launches it long. Delap's after this. Bassey sees it bounce, heads it down to the left-hand side. It's kept in play by Robinson. Robinson in turn goes back to his goal. Still goalless on BBC Radio Suffolk with 10 minutes gone.
Yeah, Fulham are looking quite useful in attack, but every time we pick up possession, as opposed against Arsenal and Chelsea, we found it difficult to work the ball up the pitch. But today, already in this game, we seem to be able to get the ball from one half of the pitch to the other half of the pitch quite comfortably.
Here's the Dane Anderson, giving it to his right-hand side, and the Frenchman Diop. Back with Anderson, deep inside Fulham territory. We're still 0-0 live on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport, our first commentary of the new year. Our second one is again on a Sunday, next Sunday in the FA Cup, 3 o'clock kickoff, Ipswich Town against Bristol Rovers in round 3 of the FA Cup. Third round weekend later, the start of this particular calendar year. Greaves to Davis, and Davis swings the ball back to Walton, who got that man of the match performance for his clean sheet against Chelsea. There is Luke Wolfenden inside the Ipswich area, draws in Iwobi, bends the ball round him as calm as you'd expect from Wolfenden to Johnson. Johnson to Smodics, back to O'Shea just in front of right back. O'Shea goes long, too long on this occasion for Delap, who'll conserve some of his running power for later in the game. He always knew that one was going back to Leno.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad ball. I don't think Liam Delap quite anticipated it.
Here is Joachim Anderson, was a key player for Crystal Palace alongside Mark Gay last season. Good point for Palace against Chelsea yesterday. Chelsea now 4 without a win in the Premier League. Here is Bassey, had a great game for Rangers in the Europa League final a few years ago, remember Calvin Bassey. A little spell in Ajax after that, which didn't work out for him, but he's been playing regularly for Fulham this season. There's Castagna, an FA Cup winner with Leicester City. 11.5 on the clock. Not too much in the way of goalmouth action so far in this game. Lots of empty seats in the upper tier opposite, surprisingly so. You rarely see that at any Premier League ground. None in the away end though. Iwobi finds Wilson in a little pocket of space. Wilson to Castagna, in it comes to the Ipswich area, well defended by Greaves. Behind for the first corner to Fulham.
Yeah, they've got down the outside of our left full-back there, Leif Davis, quite comfortably really. It's a lovely driven cross into the box, but the advantage we have, the fact we've got 3 centre-halves, that was also a comfortable clearance for Jacob Greaves as well. We had plenty of bodies in there.
In the 13th minute, Fulham have the first corner kick of this Premier League fixture. It's over in the far left corner of Craven Cottage, and it comes from Wilson, the number 8, headed up by Greaves to the edge of the box. Lukic volleys it back into a dangerous area, bounces wide left to Bassey, just outside the Ipswich box. Being marshalled by Leif Davis. Davis has come across the right back area. Anderson puts a good looking cross into the box, headed up by Johnson, back there for Town, nodded out by Broadhead. Delap tries to take it on, he can't go very far. Wilson wins it back. Anderson to Bassey. A little bit of pressure being exerted on Ipswich Town. Bassey's right-footed cross into the middle, headed away by Greaves. He's defended very well the last couple of moments. Broadhead eventually gets the ball under control and launches it upfield.
Just seen the advantage of having 3 centre-backs in there. Fulham are putting a lot of diagonal crosses into our box, and when we've had a back 4, that would have found possibly somebody with a free header, but because we've got Wolfenden O'Shea and Jacob Greaves in there, invariably it's going to land on a pink-shirted player.
We have 13 and a half minutes gone in this match. Fulham have the ball on the far side with Castagna. Back to Kearney. Forward to Castagna down the right-hand side. Chance for Castagna to cross into the Ipswich area. In comes the ball, dealt with by Morsey, stomping it away half volley off the outside of his right boot. Broadhead can't get a hold of it. Lukic rebuilding for Fulham. Square to Iwobi. Iwobi to Bassi. Ipswich Town under the cosh. Bassi attempted cross, hits the rib cage of Smodics. Johnson prevents a corner. It's out for a throw to Fulham outside of the Ipswich Town penalty box.
Yeah, Everton did this against us. They were prepared to put crosses in from diagonal positions and just onto the back post and test us out, and Fulham are doing exactly the same.
Got to the Carabao Cup semi-finals last season, Fulham, on a run of 8 unbeaten in all competitions at the moment, their longest run for nearly 17 years. Lovely play from Broadhead on the edge of the Ipswich area, scooped it up over his opponent and drove onwards with the ball. Broadhead finds Delap on the far side, held up by Castagna and Diop. Davis back to Kayuste. Last time I've already mentioned him and Morsey unable to get much of the ball so far in this game. Wolfenden measures a pass along the deck to this near side. It's been a very well watered pitch as well. Been a fair bit of rain in the last hour or so as we've been settling into our seats here at Craven Cottage. Wolfenden to O'Shea. Talk that Ben Godfrey, potential loan signing for Ipswich Town's here watching this game. Poor from Kayuste, but no, he's fouled, says the referee. Lukic thought he'd got goal bound there when he'd taken the ball off the Swede, who ended up on the deck, but the referee's blown his whistle and Town got a free kick.
Well, we've seen Fulham in attack, and when the last attack that we mounted, when Broadhead did some fabulous work in the midfield and found Liam Delap with the ball, by the time Liam got the ball, there were 7 white-shirted players back behind the ball, and we only had 3 attackers. So they are very defensive-minded as well as attack-minded.
Through to Ipswich Town. Home players and fans annoyed with a couple of the decisions that have gone against Fulham in the last minute or so. Didn't look too much wrong with that, has to be said. Can't understand where their frustration comes from. So if the decisions continue to go Ipswich Town's way as this one progresses. 16 on the clock. The TV camera is just zooming in on Kieran McKenna, far side. Robinson's header forwards dealt with by Kayuste. Broadhead loses out to Lukic against another decision. Goes against Fulham, making the crowd even more agitated.
Yeah, I think they might have had a case there, but Town are doing okay with defending the box nicely. Every cross that's coming, it seems to be going to a pink-shirted player, which is good. It means that we're filling all the holes, and we are capable today, as opposed to our last 2 matches. We seem to be capable to work the ball out of the defensive areas.
Wolfenden doing just that. Wolfenden finds Greaves. Greaves tries to put it in behind. Anderson is there ahead of Delap. Anderson clears for Fulham from right towards the halfway line. That's come off an Ipswich Town player. Sarcastic cheers now from Fulham supporters. Fulham have a throw-in on the far side of the field. Yesterday's winners in the Premier League: Newcastle, Bournemouth, Villa, Manchester City and Brentford, who walloped Southampton by 5-0 at St Mary's. Surely Southampton's return to the Premier League is going to be just a one-season wonder. Here is Iwobi to the halfway line, gives it to Kearney. Iwobi gets it back, tries to play it through the middle of Robinson, who'd made a good run. Well watched though by Ben Johnson. Kayuste on halfway to Broadhead. Broadhead's done some decent things in this game. Delap does well. Delap comes away with the ball in midfield for Ipswich Town, quickly up to the edge of the area, almost gets inside the box, taken off him by Diop. Diop passes it forward, straight to Greaves. Greaves in field to Morsey. Nice tempo about this game, Town playing their part. Morsey gets it to Broadhead, back it goes to Morsey. Smodics with a touch. O'Shea in the centre circle. Now Morsey once again, we heard from him earlier on Match Day on BBC Radio Suffolk. Still waiting for the first goal of the afternoon, 18 minutes gone. Bolton's got the ball outside of his penalty area. Still no saves of any worth, really. Walton fires the ball out to the right, trying to get Johnson away from Robinson. Both players ended up on the deck. Johnson's header trickles all the way through harmlessly to Leno, German in his 3rd season, former Arsenal player. He allows Anderson to walk out with the ball from the Fulham penalty box. Bassey now has it on this left-hand side to Robinson. Has been linked with Liverpool and Manchester City of late. Anthony Robinson, once of Everton. He's a very good attacking left-back, the American international. Lukic into the path of Diop, far side, the Fulham right. Here is Kearney trying to make things happen in midfield, running forward with the ball. Tom Kearney nudged over by Kayuste. Another decision's gone Fulham's way.
Yeah, he's still looking a decent player, Tom Kearney.
Yeah.
He seems to have been around for ever and ever, but they have only 2 players in the centre of midfield, Lukic and Kearney, but they as a pair seem to be able to give us much as they can against the opposition, and a lot goes down the sides for Fulham, but when those 2 get on the ball, they're pretty useful.
Has been a terrific player, 8 years since he left Blackburn to come here. Part of that very, very good Championship midfield alongside Johansson and McDonald, as good as I ever saw at that level. That 3, Kearney a key player, and still has a role to fulfil here. He's the one change Fulham made pre-kick-off in for Andreas Pereira. Free kick to Fulham, 30+ yards from goal. Wilson steps over it. Lukic puts it into the Ipswich area, headed away by Ben Johnson to the edge of the box, nodded in by Kearney into the Ipswich area, nodded down and away by O'Shea. Bassey has it on the left-hand side outside the town box, turns it back to Kearney, 1 touch, then comes a good cross delivery, headed down, saved by Walton, really good save as well. That was the first test for either goalkeeper, and Christian Walton passed Kearney. In comes his cross, headed away by Wolfenden.
Yeah, that was another diagonal cross, but on this occasion, because it just came from that free kick just a few seconds ago, all the centre halves are up as well, so they had a formidable presence inside the town box and managed to get the first header away. Good save by Christian Walton, though.
Could help Ipswich Town out in the next couple of weeks. Fulham, they've got Watford in the Cup this weekend, but after that they go to both West Ham and Leicester in quick succession. Particularly the trip to Leicester would be nice if they could win that. Town win this afternoon, takes them up to 16th in the table. Wolves don't play till tomorrow. Here come Fulham. Wilson to Jimenez. Jimenez shoots. Chance for Wilson on the follow-up. In the D, Wilson still has the ball. Gets away from Morsey. Still Harry Wilson taking on all comers. Fulham have the ball, not for long. Surely Smodics clears. No, he goes down. The referee says play on. Fulham have a man down edge of the area. Fulham inside the box, left of centre with Robinson. Flanked by 2 town players, Robbins, Johnson and Smodics. And Wobie nutmegs Johnson. Good block from Kayuste out for a corner to Fulham, but it could have been worse.
Yeah, it was a wonderful nutmeg, it really was, and it put him into a fabulous position, and I think he should have probably been looking to sort of put a colleague in, with a sort of a pass come cross, if you like, rather than taking a shot from that angle.
Fulham on top, and forced the second corner kick of the game. Also forced a good save from Christian Walton in the last couple of minutes. But we are still 0-0 on BBC Radio Suffolk as we reach the halfway stage of this first period. Corner kick to Fulham. It's going to be Lukic to take it off to our left. Back header from Diop, handball by Bassey. The referee says no, it looked a blatant handball to me. Play continues. Robinson out to the right hand side, and Kearney wants it on his left foot if possible. Eventually the left-footed pass is square. Wilson shows it to Smodics, then takes it away from him. Lukic now, number 20, infield, back to Wilson. 9 pink shirts behind the ball. The Whites have it though on the left with Iwobi. Iwobi's cross into the centre, comes headed away by Greaves. Not for the first time in this game. Wilson with a little nod back to Robinson. Robinson controls it for Bassey in the centre circle. Town clearly up against a very good side this afternoon. Iwobi on the left, running forward. Infield, he gives it, tries to get it back. Lukic, though, picks up the loose ball. Robinson, right-footed, crosses into the Ipswich. It's a great ball, brilliant header by Greaves. Again, fabulous work in the air from the former Hull player.
Yeah, they're dangerous with the crosses. I liken them to Everton, where they're not obsessed by getting sort of towards the byline before they put the cross in. If they think there is a good possibility of getting a header away on target from a diagonal ball, they put it in.
23 minutes on the clock. Full match commentary of this game on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport. Still goalless as Lukic square finds Kearney in the middle. He side foots it all the way back to his keeper Leno. Now Anderson chips it out to the left-hand side. Poor pass that. And very generous of Bassey to give his colleague the thumbs up. He should have made that an awful lot easier for him. Bassey, despite his best efforts, couldn't keep it in play. And it's out for another throw to Ipswich with Dara O'Shea. It's going to be taken. Town's next league game, not till a week on Thursday. That home game against Brighton. And then it's Manchester City at Portman Road 2 weeks today. Town's next trip on the road is at Anfield. 3 successive home games, including the Cup, on the horizon for Ipswich Town. Here is Robinson with a throw. As the TV camera zoom in on Marcus Silva. He's doing a very good job here, the Portuguese. Iwobi tries to carry the ball on the midfield. He can't. Town have it very briefly with O'Shea, but it's given to Kearney. Castagna back towards Tom Kearney. Kearney to the far side and Wilson. Wilson looks up but plays the ball short instead. Fulham have it again with Kearney. Both of these sides beaten Chelsea in recent times. Bassey just gets away from Smodics, almost lost possession of the ball. There is Iwobi, started his career at Arsenal, Alex Iwobi. Lukic getting us very close to Morsey before passing the ball square of him. Kearney rolling the ball under the studs of his left boot with his white socks pulled up over his knees. Kearney, number 10. Always just looks a good player even when he hasn't necessarily got the ball. Iwobi to Kearney inside the area. Now the right hand side, Castagna closed down by Davis. Out the ball goes for a goal kick. Clearly came back off Castagna far side. No corner.
Yeah, this is a decent sort of threesome they've got down the left hand side, because Iwobi plays down there in the attacking position. Then you've got Robinson from the left wing back position. And Bassey is following them up the pitch. He's making a third one down here. So, you know, they've got plenty of bodies down this left-hand side and all very talented.
O'Shea into Smodics. Smodics' layoff goes straight to Bassey. Bassey, though, gives it away. It's very difficult for Ipswich Town to get out and get 2 or 3 passes. Walton doesn't take any chances. Clears it away first time. It's noticeable that Town very rarely played it around at the back in the week. They were going long with goal kicks. And it was clear to see there that Walton had one thing in his mind when the ball came to him. It was exactly the right decision, just try and hit halfway. Here is Diop, former West Ham player. Another former West Ham player wins that header. That's Ben Johnson, the Ipswich Town right wing back. And it goes for a throw to Iwobi. Fulham relentless in their pursuit of this opening goal. Here is Robinson. I remember seeing him in a loan spell at Wigan a fair few years ago, Robinson. Anderson, square inside his own half for Diop. Diop goes back to Leno. Leno to the left back area, and Bassey again draws in Smodics. Kearney, ball through midfield, touch on from Wilson's excellent. Wilson gets the ball back, Wilson running forward. Brought down by Davis, free kick. It's going to be a yellow card for Leif Davis. The fans want a red card, but surely there's too much for Wilson to still do with players coming back. It's surely just going to be a yellow for Leif Davis.
Well, it was a beautiful exchange of passes, and his collection, Wilson, was really good. His first touch almost took him clear. You know, you would expected that first touch purely to control the ball, but he used it to actually take himself into a dangerous position, and I think it deceived Leif Davis a little bit. You know, he thought Leif was coming across thinking he's got more time than he actually had, and had to sort of give the free kick away. But good play by Wilson without question.
He's a very, very exciting player, Harry Wilson. Such a good player. Couldn't have any complaints about the caution there. Leif Davis is his 5th of the season, but doesn't mean a great deal. He's got to get to 10 now, any of these players, to receive a 2-game ban. Marcus Silva looking at the replay screen just to see whether there was an argument for a straight red. Just having a word with Andy Madley, who's the 4th official.
It looked as if he was going to go clear, but I think that would have been really harsh if they had sort of deemed that he was sort of the next person he was going to meet would have been Christian Walton. I think he would have been a defender, so that's why Leif Davis ends up with a yellow and not a red.
Yeah, it's still, what, 32, 33 yards from goal, this free kick. Players were coming back. It was hardly 1 against 1. And then he was through on goal. Play to continue. Wilson, who was upended, fancies this free kick. It's a good distance out. In the end, he leaves it for Lukic. Lukic puts it into the area, headed centrally by Anderson. Needed a touch from Jimenez, who ran towards the ball, but he didn't make contact. And it's safely into the gloves of Christian Walton. If you're joining us on BBC Radio Suffolk on the 29th minute. No Amari Hutchinson because of a groin problem. Fingers crossed he's okay for Brighton a week on Thursday. And Wes Burns on the bench. In have come Smodics and Johnson. Burgess and Harry Clark back on the bench for this one, down at Craven Cottage, which holds 25,500, around about that number. It's a wet and rather miserable afternoon. One of only 2 games this today in the Premier League. The other, the massive one at Anfield. Liverpool against Manchester United, kicking off at 4:30. Free kick inside the Fulham half to the home team. Kearney is waiting to see if anybody else fancies it. In the end, he takes it himself and gives it back 5 or 6 yards to Bassey. He does likewise for Anderson. Fulham with Leno. Rules the ball to his right. Diop from the orthodox right-back berth over in the far corner as we look at things. Jimenez holds the ball up. Still has it. Still does a good job for Fulham, the 33-year-old. That really nasty head injury a few years ago, Raul Jimenez. I don't think he's wearing the protective bandage anymore. Doesn't look like it from this distance. Castagna to Diop. Fulham have it at the back with Leno. Just guides his long clearance away from Delap up to the forehead of Wolfenden. Morsey finds Kiyuste in the centre of the field. Still noticeably quiet, those two. Morsey now finds Broadhead. In comes the challenge of Jimenez. Wolfenden goes to ground effectively. Greaves is caught late perhaps by Jimenez. He's got up hobbling, Jacob Greaves, but I think he's going to be all right.
Yeah, I think the area, I mean, obviously Fulham are dominating the exchanges at the moment and look the most likely team to open the scoring. I think where we've got to improve, I think Sam Morsey and Kajust have got to do a little bit more. They look inferior to the Fulham pair in there, and also the ones who are playing in identical positions. You've got Smodics and Broadhead for Ipswich, and then you've got Iwobi and Harry Wilson for Fulham playing in similar positions, and the Fulham pair are definitely contributing more than the Ipswich pair.
Iwobi with a first-time layoff to Lukic. On the right-hand side, Castagna in line with the edge of the Ipswich area. Back the ball goes to Lukic. Here's Kearney once again. He's seen plenty of the ball. Low attempted pass into the area, trying to mix things up. Cleared away by Town, and then Iwobi's header forward, trying to make something of the second opportunity. Couldn't. Miscontrol by Wolfenden. Just gets there ahead of Jimenez. Now it's with Greaves to Leif Davis. Back with Christian Walton of Ipswich Town. Walton digs out his clearance up towards halfway. Delap controls it brilliantly on the outside of his right foot. Superb play from Delap. Then he finds Broadhead. Broadhead to Morsey. Town coming through the middle with Broadhead. Caught from behind, rather stumbled over the ball after the challenge from Lukic.
Well, that was better by Ipswich, and it starts from a very good ball from Christian Walton. It's in to Liam Delap's feet as opposed to in the air to him. So you get that ball into his feet, there's room to do it, you can start a counter-attack off.
Last 3 meetings between these two sides have all been at Portman Road, because there were a couple of League Cup encounters before the 1-1 back in August. Fulham actually on an 8-match unbeaten run against Ipswich Town, home and away. Morsey fires the right-footed free kick just outside the area. Davis tries to make something of it. He has made something of it. He's won Ipswich down their first corner. Great run from Davis, well picked out by Morsey.
Yeah, it was a good run, so this gives us an opportunity. We now can sort of obviously get our centre halves up. We've got 3 of them, all good in the air, all can get in the box there, and I think we've actually put 6 into the penalty area. All good headers of a ball.
It's been confirmed on the giant screen here that VAR did consider Leif Davis's case, looking at whether it should have been a red, but it wasn't a goal-scoring opportunity. That's why it was only a yellow. Smodics with his corner kick, not enough leverage on it, headed away by Lukic in front of the near stick, and it goes far side for a throw into Ipswich down there left. But it's good that fans do get this explanation on the giant screen of VAR decisions.
Corner kick not quite good enough. He's got to just get a little bit more on it. You know that Fulham are going to sort of dominate that first post.
Kayuste with this throw into the Fulham area. The back header from O'Shea might be useful. Nodded away by Fulham, only as far as Davis. Davis to Kayuste, low ball in from the Swede, blocked away by Fulham. Now this is the chance for them to counter. Wilson's on the ball, threads it forward. That was the attempt, well blocked off by Dara O'Shea. Excellent defending to come back, because Fulham had an overload on this near side. There could have been trouble if the Irishman hadn't won it. Diop stands on the ball in midfield, gives it to Kearney. Now on the left with Robinson. 33.5 minutes played in this first half, live on BBC Radio Suffolk. 0-0. Fulham have come closer to scoring. Walton with a good save. Iwobi up to Robinson. Bassey goes back to Alex Iwobi. Kearney of Fulham. Square to Lukic, along the floor to Castagna. You'll find Diop, applauded by Marcus Silva in all black, aside from his white trainers visible on the far side of the field. We look directly into the dugouts on the far side here from our commentary position at Craven Cottage. 9 times out of 10 they're down below us, but they're opposite here. Ball over the top, which O'Shea has to deal with against Lukic, who got forward from midfield.
Yeah, it's a really good run. He spotted the gaps there and he sort of made the run, and the ball was good. The defending was good in the end, but it needed to be.
Gets forward more than I expected from Lukic. I thought it might be more of a sit and hold type midfielder. He's very active. Here comes Lukic of Fulham. He's having a good game. Gets the ball out to Robinson near side. A little bit of good fortune there, though, it has to be said. Seemed to play it through an Ipswich Town player. Robinson, infield to Iwobi. Back to Robinson inside the area. Gets away from Johnson. Pulls it back. Still hasn't been cleared. Eventually Johnson does get it away. Flags up against Fulham. It's an Ipswich Town free kick inside their penalty area.
Yeah, it's interesting that Fulham sort of overload the left-hand side but have very few players on the right-hand side. You've got Iwobi, Robinson and Bassey Irobi who come down this side, and on the other side you don't get so much movement from the right centre back, and consequently it's Castagna very much on his own. Wilson, even, who plays slightly ahead of him, is adopting a very much an infield position, so they're a little bit light on the right, but plenty of bodies down the left-hand side.
Wolfenden to Morsey. That was risky from Wolfenden. Morsey had a player right on him, Kearney. Town got away with it. Wolfenden clears up towards halfway. Delap hangs a leg at it, doesn't get a hold of the ball. Broadhead does, though. Broadhead for Ipswich Town skips away from one challenge. He's done ever so well. He's having his shirt tugged. Brilliant from Broadhead. Then he feeds it to the left-hand side. Davis inside the Fulham area. Took a while to get it under control. Then he made a mess of it, looking for Delap. That was a real shame. That was such good play from Broadhead.
Yeah, now it's petered out. You'd really want a free kick on Broadhead, really, because he was being sort of manhandled all the time. He was on that good run. He came out of it, and then sort of Leif Davis tended to sort of mess it up a little bit, but the run by Broadhead was excellent.
Very, very good indeed. Cleared away from right back by Fulham up towards Jimenez, headed down by Greaves. In steps Johnson. Leif Davis has the ball on the far side for Ipswich Town. Play it back to the middle of those three. Wolfenden still has the ball. Jimenez is chasing after him, but he's got away from Wolfenden. Can't go forward. Wants someone to come short, I think. Judging by the gestures afterwards when he gave the ball to Morsey. Morsey with a diagonal ball into the chest of Davis. It's inch perfect. Davis has it tight to that far touchline. Back towards Broadhead. Smodics and Delap in the centre. Town opt to not go that direction just yet. Instead they've worked it back to the centre spot. Again, Wolfenden frustrated with a lack of options by the looks of things. Morsey holds off Kearney, turns it around the corner to Broadhead. Broadhead threads it through, looking for Delap. Delap's inside the area. He's held up the ball well away from Anderson. Town having a little spell. Davis infield to Broadhead, might have a go from the edge of the area. He comes his cross towards Johnson, headed against the bar, maybe from the Fulham player under pressure. Has to be a goal. It is! Town get the opener, and it's Sam Smodics who goes to the corner flag to celebrate. They've been knocking on the door this last couple of minutes, and they now celebrate the opener. It's Fulham 0, Ipswich Town 1, and it's Smodics with his 4th of the season.
Well, Johnson was more determined to sort of get his head on the ball than what the Fulham defender was, and when he got the header away, it's hit the Fulham crossbar, and then all sorts of things could have happened. It's come loose, it's come to Smodics, and he's driven it home. At one stage I just wondered whether it was going to be offside or not, but there was a Fulham defender just able to get up. He got up on the Fulham goal line, but he wasn't able to step forward to get a player offside. But that was a nice little spell. It was only about a couple of minutes, but it was a good spell for Town. It started with that lovely little attacking run of Nathan Broadhead's, and that petered out. Then we pick up another ball, we mount another attack, and we've got the opening goal of the game.
Yeah, we'll have a little look at it. 2 potential offsides in there, but at the moment it's all looking good. 6 minutes to go until half-time. As I say, that's a 4th goal for Sam Smodics in Ipswich Town colours, all of them away from home. And they lead Fulham by 1-0. Play back underway as Greaves rises. Great reaction from the away crowd then as well. Kearney's been upended on the far side. The referee's going to have to dish out a yellow card to Jacob Greaves on this occasion. So both those players on the left-hand side of Ipswich Town's back line, Davis and Greaves, on a caution. I think it would have been an own goal maybe from Robinson, the header against the bar initially, but Smodics got himself in a good position for the follow-up. It was Johnson causing Robinson all sorts of problems initially. And then Smodics belted the ball against the Fulham defender and into the net. Fulham then, let's see how they react with 5.5 minutes of this first half to go. Lukic and Wilson over this free kick for Fulham. Town lead 1-0, and it comes from Lukic. Headed away well by Ben Johnson. Kayuste is going to go after it. He'll get there ahead of Robinson. Knocks it down the line. Kayuste is on a sprint. Robinson's quicker and plays it back to his keeper.
Well, that was good. Good clearance, good determination to get onto the loose ball and run it as far down the line as possible. And now the Town defence are 10 yards, only 10 yards inside their own half. That's good play, good defending, good pushing up.
Fulham on the centre spot with Lukic. All the noise being made by the Ipswich Town fans. Playing it back towards Anderson inside the centre circle. Out to the left comes Robinson, receiving the ball, number 33. Kearney again taking a hold of things for Fulham into the path of Bassey on the left-hand side. Shaped to cross, feigned, in the end gives it back to Kearney. 1-0 to the Tractor Boys is the chant from behind the Walton goal off to our left. Fulham trying to progress play towards that final third as the rain falls at Craven Cottage. Fulham have it back with Anderson. Now here is Kearney once again. Out to the left, he gives it to Robinson. Robinson controls it. Back with Bassey, forward to Iwobi. Bassey once again, Town with everybody behind the ball, making it difficult for Fulham. Here is Alex Iwobi to Bassey, back to Iwobi. Wide left outside the Ipswich area. Robinson. Robinson to Kearney. Kearney comes in field. And the Town led 1-0 at Portman Road before it turned 1-1. Fulham trying to repeat that comeback. Iwobi down the left side inside the Ipswich area. Threads into the middle to Wilson. Closed down well by Wolfen and good defending. Delap just eased Diop off the ball. And it goes to Kearney. Home fans getting behind their team. Desperate for an equaliser. Robinson's cross hangs high in the air for a while. Nodded into the Ipswich area. Dealt with by Greaves. Also Wolfenden, headed forward by Anderson into the Ipswich area. Johnson's there, brought down by Jimenez. Jimenez bangs it goalwards, comes off an Ipswich Town man. Out again, it goes to Diop. Lukic in midfield to Castagna of Fulham, live on BBC Radio Suffolk Sport. Town 1-0 up. Sam Smodics with the opening goal after 38 minutes. Robinson to Kearney. Iwobi will run in from the left touchline, still has it, coming in field. Bypasses the Town midfield out to the far side, and Diop, I don't know what his crossing's like, gives it to Wilson instead. There's Kearney. Town doing well, just keeping Fulham at arm's length. Castagna gives it back to Wilson. Wilson left-footed, crosses to the far post, headed out behind by Johnson. Knew that Robinson was close to him. It's a Fulham corner.
Yeah, very good defending at the back post by Johnson. It's a rare cross for Fulham from their right-hand side. They very rarely mount attacks down that side. It's normally down this left-hand side, and I think this is the side, the left, that we've got to concentrate on most fully.
We have 2 minutes exactly of the first half to go, and it's Sasa Lukic who has this corner kick for Fulham, trying to draw level before the interval. Smodic's goal separates the sides. Off to our left-hand side. In comes the corner for Fulham. Good header away by O'Shea, who's going to chase after the ball as well. Kearney scoops it over the top of him. Controlled by Castagna. Infield to Iwobi. Now to Kearney. Down the right-hand side of the Ipswich area. Iwobi gets the ball. In comes his cross. Looks a good one. Plenty white shirts forward. Wilson with a volley. It's come off of an Ipswich Town player for another corner to Fulham. That was travelling.
Yeah, it was a good ball in the box. The header just coming to the edge of the box, and Wilson, not for the first time, meeting sort of balls around that area, 20 yards from goals. He looks very dangerous along that penalty area line.
Talented player. Corner kick for Fulham, which they play short. Town didn't read it. Kearney gives it back to Wilson. Back to Kearney. Kearney's going to have a go. Fantastic block from the goal scorer. Deflects high up in the air to the halfway line off Smodic's, as far as Robinson. Robinson knocks the ball into the box. Walton's come for it and should collect, because the only player anywhere near it was Jacob Greaves, who was always going to let his keeper have it.
Yeah, not a good ball in from Robinson. You know, he's probably 45 yards from the Town sort of goal, and hitting a diagonal from there is a little bit ambitious, and Christian Walton has got plenty of chance to come and dominate the ball.
Marcus Silva looking really unhappy, slouched in his chair, far side. Walton, left-footed kick for Town, headed by Diop to Robinson. Fulham up to the halfway line with Iwobi, trying to help it on first time. Greaves, though, intercepts. Greaves to Delap. Delap loses the ball. Quickly, 2 Fulham defenders onto him, which he's coming to expect. Of course, that frees up somebody else's man. Robinson can't find Iwobi. Easy for O'Shea to deal with. Johnson to Morsey. Morsey towards Smodic's. Held up well, Smodic's. Back to the captain. Morsey square to Davis. Good play from Ipswich Town up to the halfway line. Davis is on a run. Thinks he can beat Castagna for pace. He certainly can. Then in comes the cross to the far post. Delap. No, just away from him. Terrific run that from Davis. Cleared not very far by Fulham. We're into added on time at the end of the first half. Town have the ball wide right. Goes back towards O'Shea on this near side. Just the 1 minute of added on time to play. Smodic's infield to Morsey. Back it goes to Luke Wolfenden. Town trying to see out the half. Wolfenden down the line to Johnson. Overlapping is Smodic's too much on that. Bassey will get there. Ball's deep inside the Fulham half of the field. That'll do. Just a matter of seconds to go in this additional minutes. There you go. That's it. Ipswich Town leading Fulham by 1-0 at half-time, Mick Mills.
Yeah, it's been a good display, really. And the first thing I've got to say is, since we've moved to the 3 centre halves, we filled the vulnerable holes that were there for perhaps 2/3 of the first half of the season. You know, that's the plus point, is that we've now, you know, we're not allowing these runs from deep to sort of dissect our defenders. You know, those holes are filled when crosses are going in. You know, the chances of us sort of getting on the first ball is much better. We've got good headers of the ball now. Wolfenden, O'Shea, Greaves, they can all head good balls out. Johnson can deal with a back post ball, and so can Leif Davis. So that part of our game has improved immensely. We were starting to find the problem side of playing with 3 at the back again in the first part of this half, where we weren't able to sort of mount too many attacks, a little bit like down at Arsenal and at home against Chelsea. But slowly but surely, we sort of, you know, we took the initiative, and we managed to work the ball a little bit up the other end of the pitch, and we had a little spell just before the goal where we started to link a few passes. Morsey came in the game more, Kajus came into it a lot more, particularly Nathan Broadhead, who got on the ball a couple of times and kept possession for us, which was the all-important thing. And when you do that, you enable people like Smodic's to just go into the opposition penalty area with a little bit of time on his hands. And also we got that ball worked down the left-hand side. Smodic's was able to get into the penalty area, and from the right-hand side we had Ben Johnson making a run as well. That's what happens when you can sort of get on the ball and control the ball over a period of time. You give other people a chance to make runs into dangerous areas, and we managed to do that. We got the first goal, and since then Fulham, they've had a couple of attacks, a couple of crosses in the box, but we have made it a little bit more of an even game. I think what we've got to be wary of as far as Fulham are concerned is this three-man left side of Bassey, Robinson and Iwobi. It looks formidable, it looks athletic, it looks dangerous. The right-hand side is not so dangerous in number because Diop doesn't come forward very much. Castanet is very much on his own on the right-hand side because even Wilson, who plays right side attacker, he comes infield quite a lot. But the danger with Wilson is if he sort of seizes on a loose ball just outside the penalty area. His shooting is very good, his control is very good. So he's a danger with anything around the penalty area. I think the boys down the left-hand side for Fulham are a danger, and we've got to be very, very careful. But generally speaking, we've eased into it, and we've been able to ease into it because there's been no mistakes at the back. It's been good defending by 5 defenders, 2 wing-backs and 3 centre-halves.
Well, let's hope Ipswich Town can hang on to this half-time lead, or who knows, extend it, trying to win back-to-back games in the Premier League. Ipswich, who have won 2 of their last 4 on the road, it has to be said. They're doing well here, certainly at the halfway stage at Craven Cottage, because thanks to Sam Smodics, it's Fulham 0, Ipswich Town 1.
Yeah, and since the beginning of last season, only Erling Haaland, Mo Salah, Cole Palmer and Alexander Isak have scored more goals across England's top 2 tiers than Sam Smodics, who is up to 32. And if you missed the goal, we'll bring you it again during our half-time report, when we'll also hear from Arne Slot and Ruben Amorim ahead of the 4:30 kick-off in the Premier League today, Liverpool versus Manchester United.
Wayne Babin at breakfast.
Wayne, haven't we had some great times on the show this year?
Do you have any favourite bits?
Have I had some favourite bits?
How about the time we did this?
Oh, what about the time when we...
Do you remember when we did this?
Oh my hand, no, wait. But what if you did the little...
Should we do more of it next year?
You know what? I think we should. So
join myself and Courtney and Darren and Isaac and Luke and Kelly and the team in 2025. Happy New Year!
Wayne Babin at breakfast.
Weekdays from 6.
BBC Radio Suffolk.
You with Match Day this Sunday afternoon on BBC Radio Suffolk. Fulham 0, Ipswich Town 1 in our main feature. First half highlights on the way, followed by full commentary of the second half. In today's other Premier League fixture, the leaders Liverpool face Manchester United at Anfield. Confirmation at midday today that the game goes ahead at 4:30, despite there being heavy snow on Merseyside. John Murray at Anfield.
Snowy Liverpool is all set for this English classic between the Premier League leaders and the record champions. Liverpool going great guns, 23 matches unbeaten, the Premier League's top scorers. They've already won 3-0 at Old Trafford this season. Contrast to Manchester United, who've lost 4 in a row, are mired in the bottom half and must have travelled through the snow with at least a little trepidation of what might happen.
Yeah, United currently in 14th, having lost 5 of their last 6 games. Liverpool boss Arne Slot has some sympathy with his opposite number today, Ruben Amorim.
I think every manager sympathises with every other manager because we all know how much pressure this job brings. That's not different for him than for me or for any other manager that works in the Premier League or somewhere else around the world. This is a job where there's a lot of pressure. This is also something we like, otherwise we must not do this. Like I said, he's done so well at spotting Portugal that and again, I think he has a good squad of players as well, so he will eventually bring the best out of them. It's going to take a while maybe for Ruben Amorim to bring this out of the players. I don't know, but they will definitely go up. And they are much better than the league table shows at the moment.
For Liverpool, a chance today to go 8 points clear at the top of the Premier League with a game in hand on second-placed Arsenal. United manager Ruben Amorim, let's hear from him. He admits there are several issues among his players ahead of kick-off.
We need the leaders to step up, help the other guys, and I'm the most responsible person here to improve the performance. So you can see that the players are trying. Sometimes they are too anxious, too afraid to play football because this is a difficult moment. Of course, any team have their problems, even the best ones, and we try to find that. But to be honest, I'm really focused on our basics. So more than try to find different things in Liverpool shape, I'm just really focused on the way we're supposed to play our games.
Quick look back at yesterday's non-league action locally, what there was of it. Leiston were 1-0 winners at home to Stratford Town in the Southern Premier League Central Division, while Lowestoft Town edged a thriller 4-3 away at Redditch. That result moves the Trawler boys out of the relegation zone, while AFC Sudbury drop in. The Yellows' new year began with a 2-1 defeat to Banbury. Manager Mark Abbott spent much of last season in a relegation battle. Is he feeling a case of déjà vu?
I think we're in a much better place this year, personally. I think obviously we've worked really hard to get 27 points, but obviously look, it's a relentless league. We have to be mindful of what we do moving forward. I think obviously look, there's no alarm bells, absolutely not. Everyone's beating everyone at the moment. I think look, we've lost to a team around us, absolutely. I think we've got games in hand. I think look, one big thing is we've shown we can win games here. I think we've got to calm down, steady down a little bit, and just manage what we're doing in this tough spell. But I think, look, it's for everyone to see. We've got some really good players here that I think that, again, will help the club get back into a good place. There's loads of football to be played, loads of football. We've got 3 games in hand of teams above us. There's no panic here. I think we're still very much on course for a positive season.
Yeah, because the way this league is this season, a few wins on the trot, you could be knocking on the door of the playoffs again.
Exactly that. I think, like I say, everyone beats everyone. You've only got to look at some of the scores today. We've had a glance quickly, but nothing major. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for us is we've got to keep trying to get points at home. That's been our massive positive this season. I think we can do that. I think we've got to tidy up a little bit away from home. But yeah, look, there's no panic here.
AFC Sudbury boss Mark Abbott with Stephen Foster. In the Isthmian North Division yesterday, 2-1 win for Bury Town at Redbridge moves them level on points with top of the table Felixstowe Walton United. The Seasiders fixture was called off along with the West Suffolk derby between Mildenhall and Newmarket, and Ipswich Wanderers' trip to Wroxham. Not much in the way of action from the Thurlow non-league yesterday. One match that did go ahead was at Woodbridge Town, where the home side were beaten 5-1 by Cornard United. Luke Higham side, in fact, were 5-0 down inside half an hour. So a bad day at the office for the former Ipswich Town midfielder.
You're putting that very lightly. It was not great. It was unacceptable from our part. It's just really frustrating because there's been 1 or 2 games which we've played like that and we've had results and performances like that, and I think over a course of a season I do think you get one performance like that, but I think we've had 2 or 3 now. But on the flip side, I think we've put ourselves in a great position. We've done really well up until this point, but we can't have results and performances like that. And I said it to the boys, and kind of let ourselves down, let the club down, because there's loads of games which got called off, and you've got all these volunteers and people around the club who look after the pitch, not just on Saturdays, but throughout the week, and we kind of let them down and we let ourselves down. But it's the way football goes, unfortunately, and we've got to dust ourselves off and go again next week.
Have you ever been involved in a game like that where you've been literally 5-0 down inside half an hour?
No, I haven't. I said it, lads, at half time. I think there's no point of rollicking them. They know that as frustrating and as annoyed as I was, they know that weren't good enough.
Luke Higham, the Woodbridge Town boss, with Nick Garnham. If we've time later in the programme, on air till 5 o'clock with Match, they'll bring you more from both Mark Abbott and Luke Higham after those non-league matches locally yesterday. Away from football, Australia's cricketers beaten India by 6 wickets in the 5th and final test of the series in Sydney earlier today, so they win the series 3-1. The Aussie captain Pat Cummins lifting the Border Gavaskar Trophy.
This was one that a few of us didn't have. It's been an amazing series, and it's one of those ones that's been in the calendar for a fair while. You've always got an eye on it for the last year or two, and it's really it's lived up to all the hype.
And then from a series point of view, how proud are you of the group that you were able to bounce back after that blip in that first Test match?
Yeah, immensely proud. We spent a lot of time together, the group, over the years, so we knew we weren't at our best at Perth, but it was never as bad as it seems. So you stick tight and double down on what makes us a really good side, and we've managed to have a lot of fun along the way as well. Absolutely love playing alongside these guys, and it's some success at the end is always nice.
You hold every bilateral trophy, plus the World Cup, plus the Test Championship trophy as well. It's a pretty amazing side that you're part of.
Yeah, thanks. It's been it's such a special group. Feel so privileged to first of all have this job, but what we've been able to achieve together alongside the support staff as well. It's such a group effort. Families as well, they give up so much. So really proud with what we've been able to achieve. As I said, we're also hopefully having the best time of our lives as we're doing it together as well. So pretty satisfied at the moment.
Australia cricket captain Pat Cummins with Isha Guha. At tennis, and world number 1 Arina Sabalenka's prepared for her Australian Open title defence after she beat Russian qualifier Polina Kudermetova in the final of the Brisbane International. And Ipswich women's basketball players enjoyed a big win at Barking Abbey yesterday. The Suffolk side victorious by 74 points to 49. Today, Ipswich will learn who they'll play in the National Cup final later this month as Thames Valley play Brent Bulls in the other last 4 encounter. You with Match Day on BBC Radio Suffolk. Full second half commentary of Ipswich Town away at Fulham on the way.
Davis with a good looking ball in. That's a fabulous cross from the left-hand side. He's entitled to ask why on earth was no one on that. Robinson with a lovely ball. Fulham nod it into the area. It was Jimenez looking for Wilson. Thankfully, he just evaded him on the stretch and is back with Walton. That was a terrific ball in though from Leif Davis. Here comes a good cross delivery, headed down, saved by Walton. Really good save as well. That was the first test for either goalkeeper as Christian Walton passed Davis. Infield to Broadhead, might have a go from the edge of the area. He comes his cross towards Johnson, headed against the bar, maybe from the Fulham player under pressure. Has to be a goal. It is! Town get the opener, and it's Sam Smodics who goes to the corner flag to celebrate. They've been knocking on the door this last couple of minutes, and they now celebrate the opener. It's Fulham 0, Ipswich Town 1, and it's Smodics with his 4th of the season.
This is what you fell in love with.
The magic of the FA Cup alive and well.
This is original football.
The drama. What a story.
The FA Cup third round. Arsenal v Manchester United.
Brilliant goal, cracking finish, Arsenal lead. Just sensational from Manchester United.
Watch live next Sunday on BBC iPlayer.
Yeah, we'll have a full commentary of Ipswich Town versus Bristol Rovers on that day. Usual match day hours, just a day later. We'll be on air from 2 through till 6. It's a 3 o'clock kickoff at Portman Road. Then a few days after that, a Thursday night Premier League fixture on BBC Radio Suffolk. Every kick of Ipswich Town at home to Brighton, when hopefully Kieran McKenna's side will be aiming for a 3rd straight league win, because they rounded off 2024 with that remarkable victory over Chelsea at Portman Road, and this year so far started quite well. They lead Fulham 1-0 in our main feature. Let's rejoin Mick Mills and Brenna Woolley at Craven Cottage,
where Fulham are about to make a change. Emile Smith-Rowe's coming on. Tricky to see who is going off. It might be Diop, the centre half, which would therefore mean a change of system to a straightforward back 4. Yes, it is. Issa Diop has gone off and Emile Smith-Rowe is coming on, so a very attacking change made by Marcus Silva. We'll get to their team in a moment, but this is your Town team this afternoon in all pink, playing from right to left. Walton in goal, a back 3 of O'Shea, Wolfenden, Greaves on the yellow. The wing-backs Johnson down the right, Davis down the left, he's also been cautioned. Morsey and Kayuste in the centre, and then Smodics and Broadhead are supporting Delap in attack. On the bench, Murrich, Burns, Townsend, the 2 Clarks, Alhamady, Taylor, Phillips and Burgess. So Fulham have Leno in goal. It's probably going to be a back 4 of Castagna, Anderson, Bassi and Robinson. The rest of their side, Kearney, Lukic, Emile Smith-Rowe, Wilson, Jimenez and Iwobi. On the bench still for them, Bender, Cuenca, Sessignon, King, Traore, Muniz, Goddo and Pereira. The second half underway in heavy rain in West London. Ipswich play the ball out to the near side, their left, dealt with of sorts by Fulham. Ipswich get on it again. Morsey to Broadhead. Kayuste, great strong run into the area. The ball's just taken away from him. Cleared forward by the keeper, Leno. One by Wolfenden on the centre spot, and defended very well most of that first half, certainly. Walton made one good save, and that weren't opened up too often at all. But interesting change for Fulham. Let's see how they bed into their new system. Wilson's gone right across to this right-hand side. Smith Rowe will be somewhere in the centre, the former Arsenal place. First season here, did look a good signing in the summer. Just 24 still, Emile Smith Rowe. Might surprise a few people. Has been around a long time. Has been in England squads. The Bass actually made his international debut. Here he is, Smith Rowe, but he's unable to close down Greaves. Greaves knocks the ball forward. Wilson sees it out after a nudge from Davis. Through to Fulham in the right back area.
Yes, as you said, they've gone to a back four, and Smith Rowe is playing really pretty much like a number 10. So their system now is 4-2-3-1. So that's what Town have got to play against. So no problem. We've got plenty. We've defended really well. We've defended in numbers, and we've very rarely looked like being beaten.
It's going to be very interesting second half to this game, live on BBC Radio Suffolk. Afterwards you'll hear from Kieran McKenna, currently with Hood on far side, and no surprise whatsoever, it's tipping it down here. Also hopefully get an Ipswich Town player on air before off at 5 o'clock. Given away by Castagna. Morsey gets on it in the centre of Craven Cottage, holds off the number 32 Smith Rowe. Is it back to O'Shea? O'Shea to Ben Johnson. Johnson's first time layoff in field goes to Smodix. Johnson's back on the ball now to Broadhead, who was good in the first half. Broadhead to the left, and Davis, Ipswich Town's first attack of this second period. But a sustained possession inside the Fulham half. Now Greaves joining in. Pitch getting heavier and heavier. Greaves finds Davis. Davis fizzes the ball in towards Smodix. The attempt on goal is smothered by Bassey. That was really good football from the visitors. Cleared away by Fulham. Up to halfway, Wolfenden gives it to O'Shea. Back to Wolfenden again. That was fine attacking football though from Ipswich.
Yeah, it's very good. We know that Omari Hutchinson, when he's available, he can run the ball, but that's what Nathan Broadhead gives us, and it's very important that you're just not just a passing team, but you can run the ball as well.
Yeah, Town's attacking reserve severely depleted, of course, without Hutchinson. Chaplin out as well for a couple of weeks, on top of obviously that Hurst and Ogbeni. All four of those players would have been in this 20-man squad for this afternoon, I'm pretty certain. So Town clearly on the lookout for January reinforcements. We understand Ben Godfrey is here watching this game this afternoon. The attendance, incidentally, 27,042. Interesting to see what the crowd is next Sunday for Bristol Rovers' visit in the FA Cup. Much needed win for them at Cambridge yesterday in League One. They're struggling this season, Rovers, although none of us will be taking anything for granted ahead of that particular fixture for obvious reasons, almost 12 months ago now. Robinson, rather dramatic dive to the ground, tripped by Johnson. Free kick far side to Fulham. Foregone in the second half. Town have lost 3-1 and 4-1 on their last two visits here. Actually, it has to be said, before this recent run of 8 unbeaten for Fulham against Ipswich, Town had a real hold over them for many moons. It was 12 unbeaten for Ipswich Town ahead of this run. Here is Smith Rowe. Town 16th in the live table at the moment, above Everton and Wolves. Wolves play Forest tomorrow night. Robinson infield to Kearney, to Iwobi in midfield, trying to slot it through to the overlapping run of Robinson. Dug out by Johnson for a Fulham throw outside the Ipswich penalty area. In the 50th minute of this Premier League game, Iwobi trying to find room for a cross, gives it back to Kearney, who now finds Bassey, playing left back in the second half. Bassey, far side Robinson. Robinson clips the ball into Ipswich area. Lukic is trying to get the better of Kayuste. Kayuste went with his man and was too strong. Really good play from the Town number 12.
Yeah, we're doing some good work, just for each other. It's very much a team performance, this one. We're sort of very collective when we're doing our defending.
Bassey of Fulham Infield to Kearney, as ever, trying to unlock the door, trying to make something happen in terms of Fulham getting back into this game. Kearney now on the centre spot, goes square to Bassey. You can see the trail of water as the ball rolls along the grass. Kearney once again for Fulham to Lukic. Square it goes to Castagna, midway inside the Ipswich half. Fulham trying to press forward from left to right. We have it again with Kearney, bang in the centre of the Ipswich half of the field. Bassey forward to Iwobi. Iwobi dinks it to Kearney inside the area. Kearney still has the ball. Took too long to get the ball out from under his feet, really, because he had a little bit of space and a little bit of time inside the Ipswich Town area.
Yeah, and it's unusual for him to miscontrol the ball.
Here is Lukic to Robinson. Fulham with 3/4 of the ball in the first half in terms of possession. Come on, Fulham is the chant. Good interception by Kiyuste, but he gives it away. Fulham again with the ball carried on at the start of the second half in similar vein in terms of the possession stats. Bassey coming forward down the left, gives it to Robinson. Infield to Kearney. Again, all the pink shirts back behind the ball for Ipswich Town, many of them in and around the penalty area off to the right as Fulham play in front of them. Now with Iwobi, plays the ball into the box. Robinson's going to try and get to the byline, going down to ground and sliding off the pitch is O'Shea. First corner of the half goes the way of Fulham, their 5th of the game.
Yeah, we're doing well. We look compact. Fulham are dominating the ball again like they did at the start of the first half, but they're not really doing anything with it.
7 minutes gone in the rain by the Thames. Fulham have a corner kick. Early stages of the second half. Left-footed away swinger, headed away by Broadhead. Back out to his fellow countryman on the far side, Wilson. Wilson's kept the ball in play. Wilson dabs the ball down the far touchline to Smith Rowe, running at Johnson. Smith Rowe still has it. In comes his cross the Ipswich area, patted down by Walton, because he knew that there was nobody in close proximity to take the sting out of things. And then Walton goes out short to Davis. Davis quickly gets up to the halfway line and beyond, rolls it forward to Broadhead. Lukic has gone with him all the way. Broadhead's held onto the ball, gives it back to Davis. Davis's touch takes it out of play. No, not quite. Eventually it comes off Davis's, one of his tiny shin pads, and out behind for a goal kick to Fulham.
Yeah, that's okay. Between the two of them, Davis and Broadhead, they've worked the ball out of their own sort of half into the Fulham half, and now Fulham have got to sort of now work the ball all the way up the pitch if they're capable.
Fulham's 3rd successive season in the Premier League, after being up and down for 5 years. They were the classic yo-yo side for a number of campaigns. Did have 13 successive seasons at this level between 2001 and 2014. Fulham going long. Walton's quickly out to the edge of his area. Really good goalkeeping from him.
Yeah, Ben Johnson was sucked into an infield position and allowed that run down the outside by Robinson. I think he's got to be careful. He is the right-sided wing-back. He's the man that gives us balance down that right-hand side. He mustn't be sucked into the centre of midfield.
Last meeting here was also the first game of that particular new year, January 2018. Here come Ipswich Town, wide on the left-hand side. Davis putting an early ball into the box, chested down by Delap, taken away from him by Anderson. Was unlucky, charged down by Johnson. The ball ends up in the Fulham box, but Lukic is there and plays it out short to Iwobi. Iwobi clears up towards the centre. Wilson, but Greaves is there first. Kiyuste just eases Jimenez off the ball. The referee got a good view of it. No foul. Nobody on the field of play appealed either, it has to be said. Just 1 or 2 lively fans behind us. There's somebody down below us in the Fulham supporters from Ipswich Town. Scarf wrapped around his head. Fulham with Kearney. Gives it to Lukic. 1-0 Ipswich lead. Smodix with the only goal so far in the first half, late on in that first period. Wilson comes in field, knocks the ball into Ipswich area. Wolfenden challenges Jimenez. Johnson will go across and sees the ball go to play for a goal kick to Christian Walton.
Yeah, our back five has done really well. You know, when there's a threat of a cross going in, you know, we're filling all the holes, all the spaces, and we look quite sound. We look as if we're going to get on the end of the first ball. Just concerned over on that right-hand side that Ben Johnson and Dara O'Shea don't sort of get drawn about. We don't want Dara O'Shea to be the right fullback too much. That is Ben Johnson's primary job.
16 years now since Fulham's best Premier League finish of 7th on that occasion. Had a couple of 8s and a 9th since then. Last year they were at 13th in the table. 9 wins and 8 defeats here in those 19 games. Broadhead, nice turn, but then he has a grasp of his shirt from Lukic to contend with. The referee's blown up. Free kick that Kayuste takes. Back to Luke Wolfenden. 11 gone in the second half on BBC Radio Suffolk. Afterwards, have your say. Call 0800 141 2121. Text 81333. Start those messages SFK. Or WhatsApp 08000 321 333. And the Blue Hour returns tomorrow night between 6 and 7 on BBC Radio Suffolk. If you want to get in touch with me ahead of that programme, always good to hear from you. That's brenner@bbc.co.uk. That's the email. BRENNER@bbc.co.uk. Look forward to chatting to you tomorrow night from 6. On the halfway line, Kearney has the ball here for Fulham, still 1-0 behind. Plays it to Wobie, gets it back. Kearney once again to Lukic, caught late by Broadhead. The referee says play on. Smith Rowe to Wilson. Wilson dabs it back to Castagna. Square to Kearney outside the Ipswich area. Kearney rolls it to Bassey. Bassey out to the far side and Robinson right-footed, knocks a cross into the middle, glancing header away from Greaves. Excellent defending from him, not for the first time either. Corner kick to Fulham.
Yeah, it looked a threat. They were going beyond sort of Luke Wolfenden and Dara O'Shea, but Jacob Greaves was the third man there, and he got to it quite comfortably, I felt, so that's the advantage of having 3 centre-backs.
Corner kick to Fulham. Second of this second half. 1-0 they trail. It's deep beyond the far stick, way too deep. That's a nice easy throw, and it right back for Ipswich Town off the back of that one.
Yeah, you just feel that the supporters, the home supporters, are getting a little bit edgy. The team are getting a little bit frustrated. They're not as fluent as they were during periods in the first half. We're able to sort of work the ball into the attacking areas far more often this half than we did in the first half.
TV cameras have spotted Ben Godfrey sitting with his cup of coffee here at Craven Cottage, watching his new loan club, set to join Ipswich Town from Atalanta on loan for the rest of the season. Right-sided centre-back or right-back, that's where he'll be playing, and I would guess we'll get some minutes possibly from the outset against Bristol Rovers in a week's time. Fulham in white have the ball inside the Ipswich Town half, bang in the centre of it in fact. Now on the right, outside the Town box with Wilson. Overlapping is Castagnas, use him as a decoy. Said he comes in field to Kearney. Kearney tries to put a ball into the box, so I thought he might have just hit towards the far corner. Broadhead runs it clear for Ipswich Town to the far side. Infield eventually to Morsey. Morsey goes back to Ben Johnson. Johnson picks out a pass to Kayuste. Back to Greaves on the edge of the Ipswich area. Town have worked that well. Greaves stands on the ball.
Good play.
Here he is again, Greaves, getting away from Jimenez. Good play from Greaves, but he's now lost the ball. Maybe a chance for Fulham. Jimenez on the right-hand side. That was a mistake from Greaves. Outside the area, Smith Rowe to Wilson. Still lots of work to be done. Iwobi now, just inside the Ipswich Town box. Back come the pink shirt. Iwobi hits it wide. Goal kick.
Yeah, that's good play. We've sort of forced them from sort of an attacking position on the right-hand side. We've made them play right the way across their team and end up with the ball on the left-hand side. They come in for a shot, but all the time that back line is standing firm, filling holes, shuffling across when they need to. It looks pretty good, that line.
Walton with this goal kick for Ipswich Town. 30 seconds shy of the hour mark. This man's goal still separates the sides. It's Smodix on the ball far side in front of the Ipswich Town fans. Smodix with a drag back. The ball goes for a throw to Fulham. Smodix making the most of his opportunity in for Amari Hutchinson this afternoon. It's bizarre that all 4 of his goals so far have come away from home. In goes Smodix again, out for a throw-in to Fulham.
I think Kieran will be quite pleased with this period of the game. Fulham have made a change at half-time, not only personnel change but also system change, and we have dealt with it very, very well.
Yep, I was just thinking that. There is Greaves winning a header at the back for Ipswich Town, one of their 3 centre-halves. Johnson guides the ball back to Wolfenden. Wolfenden waits and eventually plays it back to Walton. Hot chance, back-to-back clean sheets for him. That was Town's first since Brighton, the one against Chelsea the other night. Talking of Brighton, Town's next league opponents. Town's next league game a week on Thursday at Portman Road. 7:30 kick-off when Brighton come to Town. Drew 1-1 with Arsenal yesterday. Good day again for Liverpool at the top end of the Premier League, with Chelsea and Arsenal both dropping points. Forest don't play until tomorrow night. Liverpool, Man United coming up later on this afternoon at Anfield. Here is the former Liverpool player Harry Wilson. Passes the ball to the far side, and Iwobi, 61 minutes on the clock. Live on BBC Radio Suffolk. Wilson has the ball again, back to that far touchline with Alex Iwobi. Fulham with Kearney, brought down by O'Shea, was he? Yes, as the referee. It's giving Fulham a chance here to cause problems from a free kick, not too far from the right corner of Ipswich's area as Walton looks at it.
Yeah, probably can't shoot from this position, and certainly to score a goal it's got to be a hell of a shot, but it's a good crossing angle, but then we've got plenty of good headers of the ball in there.
Fulham have Wilson and Smith Rowe standing over this free kick. Fulham, I think, are about to bring on another player, potentially Muniz. Certainly changes. Actually, there are 2 changes coming from their bench. Pereira, the midfielder, I think is about to come on, and maybe Muniz, the striker. Free kick to Fulham, just outside the Ipswich area. It's Wilson who knocks it in, potentially dangerously. Great header away from Delap. Anderson goes after it, trying to recycle. Tucks it back to Kearney on the right-hand side. Anderson, now Iwobi inside the Ipswich area. Crosses to the far stick, there's a runner. Smith Rowe, was it, with a header down into the turf, and wide it was.
Yeah, he got away from Sammy Smodics there. Sammy was sort of struggling. He sort of hasn't concentrated on the back post.
Kearney goes off to be replaced by Pereira, the player that he replaced in the starting lineup. And the other alteration is Iwobi as the player going off to be replaced by Rodrigo Muniz, who's an out-and-out striker, the Brazilian. So another tweak to the system here. But Pereira coming on. I saw him having a good chat to Martin Pert and Lee Grant earlier on. Andreas Pereira knows them from his Manchester United days. Long from O'Shea towards Delap in between the 2 centre-halves. Might drop down to a hit from Broadhead. A brilliant effort as well. It was well saved by Leno off to his left-hand side from nowhere. Town very close to a second goal. That was a terrific strike from Broadhead.
Yeah, it's a beautiful ball, and it just forces the defender to drop the header down, and Broadhead is onto it, and he hits a lovely shot, to be quite honest. And the goalkeeper just gets the left hand to it, but decent shot.
Very good controlled effort that from Broadhead. Smodics did the right thing, didn't, because it looked as if one might get in the way of the other there for a second. Smodics gave up striking duties to Broadhead. Good save from Leno. Corner kick to Ipswich Town, their first of the second half. Trying to get a second goal here at Fulham. Looks towards the far stick, headed away by Jimenez before Greaves could nod it back into a dangerous area.
Yeah, good deep cross, and it looked at first as if it was going to be Jacob Greaves who could just punch the header back across the 6-yard box, but Jimenez did a really good job on him.
One of Pereira's few Manchester United appearances were actually against Ipswich Town in the League Cup at Old Trafford several years ago now. Pereira has been linked with a move back to his native Brazil. Cayuste with this throw into the Fulham box, nodded down and away by the first defender, Castagna. Helped out of the final third by Wilson. Wolfenden's going to get there in loads of time ahead of Wilson and calmly give it back to Walton. Wolfenden wants the return pass. Walton's having none of it. He left-footed, goes downfield. Smodics is going to try and turn this into a pass. Bassi gets there first, but Smodics might get onto it afterwards. No, Bassi does enough. And he manages to clear his lines towards halfway. Headed on by Robinson. Referee's played advantage. There was a high boot. Smith Rowe to Wilson. Wilson inside the Ipswich area. Wilson tripped! Stripped by Morsey, no penalty at this point. Oh my goodness me, I can see why the Fulham players are unhappy with this decision. I thought that was going to be a penalty against Sam Morsey.
Oh, I did as well. I was sort of concerned
well,
about
they surround the referee, the Fulham players. This is interesting. Two things to deal with. There's a Fulham player still down far side for the high boot.
Oh yeah, that's a foul.
It's a blatant penalty, isn't it?
Caught him right on the outside of the calf.
This would be the let-off of the season if Town don't get given a penalty again. Well, every time I see it, it looks a clear-cut penalty, and I can't believe the referee didn't give it. Oh, VAR checking for a possible penalty. Well, we shall have to wait and see. The player on the far side, I think it was Robinson who got caught by a high boot. That would have been accidental. He's up and he's all right. Referee's going to go to the screen on the far side, which doesn't make for positive reading as far as Ipswich Town are concerned. It's surely going to be a chance for a spot kick. Jimenez's already got the ball under his left arm. Like me, I don't think Sam Morsey could believe he got away with it initially.
He's just caught him high up on the outside of the calf. Never seen enough.
Well,
it's enough contact.
Imagine if Christian Walton saves this after the week he's had. The referee has disappeared over to the far side. He's peering into a screen which we can't quite see from this far across the opposite side. Surely it's not going to take
it is a penalty,
long.
It really is a bad challenge. It really is.
It was a poor challenge. Bad decision from Morsey. Yeah. All eyes on Darren Bond over on the far side of the field. He looks to have made up his mind. He's blown his whistle. He signalled the rectangle and he's pointed at the penalty spot. It's a penalty kick to Fulham, and justice was served. It is the only decision he could have made. It was a blatant penalty kick. Morsey on Wilson. Town can't have any complaints over this one.
It's a shame really, because if only he could have done it again, Sam would have left that to Luke Wolfenden. I mean, he was in a decent position for the player to have to take Luke on in the box. You know, he didn't have it wasn't a shooting position, it wasn't a clear-cut position. It's just come in and with a late challenge.
Yellow card for Morsey as well, his 7th of the season, 3 more for a 2-game ban. Well, Town lead Fulham 1-0 in the rain, but Fulham have a penalty kick. What can Christian Walton do off to our right-hand side against Raul Jimenez with a quarter of this Premier League game to go? After the VAR check, the referee has pointed to the spot. Jimenez, the Mexican, in the D, prepares himself. The referee's happy, he's blown his whistle. Jimenez comes forward, right-footed, stops, and then he eventually rolls it underneath Walton into the net. And it's Fulham 1, Ipswich Town 1.
Yeah, it was a comfortable penalty. He looked confident, he looked very sure about himself, took his time, and it's a decent penalty. I think a little bit against the run of play. I didn't think that Fulham were doing enough to really warrant an equaliser, and I thought it was maybe our best spell of the game, really. But anyway, they've got it back to 1-1. We've just got to regroup again. You know, we've looked pretty good in this half, and we've just got to make sure we finish the half off in the right way.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting final quarter of this match now. Different atmosphere inside Craven Cottage, as Sam Morsey just having a calm word with the referee there. Kayuste away from Delap, cleared by Anderson up to the halfway line. Greaves wins the ball for Ipswich, infield to Broadhead into the box to Delap, trying to get on his right hand side. He goes down inside the area. Penalty to Ipswich Town. The referee's pointed to the spot. Seconds after Ipswich Town had just conceded a penalty, they've now been given one of their own.
He's made something of nothing, just like Liam does. I mean, he really had nothing on there. The best he could have done was actually keep possession of the ball, and he manages to do that. And it's up to them. If they want to make a challenge, they do.
Can't really see it from this angle. Let's have another look. Oh, I'm not sure about that at all, but we'll have it. Certainly nowhere near as clear cut as the one at the other end. Town hadn't had a penalty all season until the other day. 2 have come along at once at this stage. No sign of any VAR potentially stepping in to alter this.
Very harsh, I think.
You think that was a harsh one? I do as well. I didn't think that was a penalty at all.
He did as well as he could, Liam Delap, you know, and but the defenders were in charge of the situation, I felt. It's a stupid penalty by Fulham if it's going to be allowed.
And obviously we now know that Liam Delap is on spot kicks for Ipswich Town this season. No sign of any VAR. Keep looking up to the screens. It's going to be allowed to be taken, this one. Finally, there are just 3 men in the box off to our left-hand side. Referee Bond, Liam Delap with the ball, and Bernd Leno, the goalkeeper. Well, Fulham, literally just a couple of minutes ago, have scored a penalty kick. What can Town do? It's Delap. He can do the same. Town are back in front into the right-hand corner, and off he goes to leap in front of the away supporters who are going bonkers off to our left-hand side. It is now Fulham 1, Ipswich Town 2, Delap yet again.
What a response and what a penalty. Get in there, I mean, that has gone in. He smashed it in. It's about 6 foot up in the air, right into the sort of goalkeeper's left corner. Wonderful penalty.
Well, it wasn't 1-1 for very long, was it?
What a response.
TV cameras just showing Kieran McKenna's reaction to that penalty kick. Calm as ever, just turns back towards his bench, not even a clenched fist. As Town are going to make a couple of changes. And one of them is going to see Jack Taylor coming on for Sam Smodics. Off goes one former Peterborough player, on comes another. And the other alteration is Kiyuste off and Phillips on.
Just kicked Liam Delap's toe. Dear oh dear. Silly challenge. That's what it was.
Well, strange it didn't go to VAR. There wasn't more made of that. The referee was adamant he was in a good position, gave it straight away. Wow. Tale of 2 penalties this second half, and Ipswich Town back in front, 2-1, which of course was the scoreline at Tottenham earlier on this season. The same 2 scorers. I think Smodics and Delap rings a bell. Those are the scorers this afternoon anyway. Headed square, far side Lukic. Smith Rowe gives it back to Robinson. And Town, getting their due, did get straight on the front foot after that equaliser. And remember, they had the chance through Broadhead just a few moments before Fulham got their big break from the spot. Phillips knocks it forward, but it's away from Taylor. Bassey is there, he clears. Interesting change bringing on Taylor for Smodics. As the ball's out of play for a throw-in. He looks rather forlorn looking at the TV screen in front of us. The cameras trained in on Marcus Silva. Still 16.5 minutes to go. Phillips is down far side, holding his right ankle. Unable to get up just yet. Referee's telling him to hurry up. Been caught by Jimenez by the looks of things. Marcus Silva now a bit more animated. Phillips is hobbling, but he's going to be okay. Taylor just comes on, a bit more of a physical presence in there, shore things up a little bit. Coming on for Smodics. 8 goals for the season. Liam Delap. Right up there in the chart of English players scoring most goals in the Premier League. Kiyuste to Broadhead. Broadhead stumbled, and the ball stuck between his feet for a second, tried to prod it through to Delap. In the end, it's with Anderson. Anderson downfield towards Wilson. Wilson wins a header against Davis. Greaves battling with Muniz. Muniz, the strong number 9. Stopped forward by Pereira. Wilson's going to get goal side. Can't keep it in play, but it's only out for a throw to Ipswich Town rather than a goal kick, thanks to the endeavour of Harry Wilson. Town after this are Bristol Rovers at home in the Cup, Brighton at home in the league, Manchester City at home, then it's Liverpool away, Southampton at home and Villa away. So 4 out of the next 5 actually at Portman Road and League and Cup. Delap rises, the ball drops down to Anderson. Anderson again to the halfway line and Bassey up through the centre circle to Robinson. Robinson runs beyond Johnson, but not Morsey. Good challenge, well won. Taylor up towards Delap. Delap's being fouled. He's knocked to the floor by Pereira. Wins a free kick for Ipswich Town, does the most recent goal scorer.
It's a nice, comfortable ball that, you know, from Jack Taylor. Nice amount of pace on it. Favours Delap, not the defender, and Delap just controls and takes the hit.
Ben Godfrey's watching on with a smile on his face. His new side leading Fulham by 2-1. Morsey, how relieved is he having given away that penalty with the current scoreline? He's over this free kick from a long way out of the Fulham area. Knocks the ball into the box. They're headed away by Muniz. Brought down by Phillips, but their whistle, as you probably heard, already gone. Calvin Phillips is barged to the ground. Free kick at the back for Fulham. Can't waste any time. It's a good strong home record as well. Fulham's one defeat in their last 11 games in all competitions everywhere, in fact. Ball is back towards Leno. In the last 24 here, they've only lost to the likes of Villa, Liverpool, Manchester City, Arsenal. Very short list of teams that have won here. Fulham clear. Only towards the centre of their half. Morsey gets on it, not for long. There is Pereira. Morsey challenges him. Pereira goes down. Morsey pointing to the ball. He's got to watch himself a little bit now that he's on a yellow. Forward from Pereira to no one in particular. Poor pass from him out far side to one of the Town subs, Ali Al-Hamadi.
Well, they're going to have a real nerve, the Fulham players now, because you sense that the crowd are not happy with what's happening in the game, and they're going to have to go it alone almost. The crowd won't lift them.
Afterwards, you'll say welcome. 0800 141 2121 is the phone number. Chat to Mick and Gray. Or text 81333. Start those messages SFK. WhatsApps to 08000 321 333. Again, start those SFK. Try and get Kieran McKenna on air as soon as possible post-match. And hopefully hear from a Town player as well. Lukic carrying the ball from midfield. Eventually goes down. Free kick given. Against the combination of Taylor and maybe Morsey.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. I think that was a player that was running sort of into trouble and it was always going to lose the ball.
Wilson on this long-range free kick for Fulham. I think the rain might have finally stopped falling at Craven Cottage. Wilson just wipes his face as he walks back a few yards and gets ready with this free kick. His right hand's in the air, that's the signal. Wilson knocks into the Ipswich area, headed by Jimenez, just wide, not far wide at all. Walton was springing off to his right hand side. It's good contact from the Fulham number 7.
It was a wonderful header, really was, powerful, just lacked direction. It's only a couple of foot wide.
Lukic is going off for Fulham to be replaced by probably Adama Traore. I think needs must, they're going to have to get the big man on. Yeah.
Well, I think this guy's a dangerous player, I really do. He obviously is, he plays in fits and starts. That's why he's on the bench and that's why he's always coming on as sub, but on his day he can be absolutely formidable.
I agree. More changes for Ipswich Town. Broadhead off, Jack Clark is coming on. I think he's done well, Nathan Broadhead. Really good stuff in that first half. Then that fine effort towards goal just before the equaliser went in. He can be proud with his display. And Burns is coming on for Johnson over on that far side of the field. It's been an energy-sapping afternoon with this heavy pitch. And of course, Town just played on Monday against Chelsea, albeit actually thinking about that was 6 days ago, so no excuse on that front really. Just that time of year when you're never quite sure when certain games were, but yeah, freshening things up. Kieran McKenna, so a chance for Jack Clark to do something in the remaining 10.5 minutes of this game. Headed away by Greaves, nodded down by Burns. There he is again, Burns belting it high far side. Bassey's going to go after this and keeps it in front of the Ipswich Town supporters. Again, enjoyed their Sunday trip to London. Will this be a third away win of the season for Ipswich Town? Work to be done. Greaves with the header back. Wolfenden has to defend this one. He does well against Wilson. Phillips takes it on his chest but loses it. Pereira to Traore, the Spaniard, just on the field. Former Barcelona youngster. Such a powerful player. As Mick was saying, on his day, he can be unplayable, but just clearly so inconsistent. But if he's got a point to prove, he's up for it this afternoon. He can certainly take these 3 points away from Ipswich Town if he's given the chance. Scored, of course, in the first meeting at Portman Road in August. Pereira trying to get Traore away. Well, he's quick, Traore, but he's not going to get that one.
No chance.
It's with Walton off to our right-hand side. 9 years since Ipswich Town last beat Fulham. Remember a very early Freddie Sears goal and then one from Brett Pittman in that particular game. It was inside the first minute that Sears scored. Fulham trying to break through the middle. Town, though, with Wolfenden in possession. Gets it to O'Shea. O'Shea up towards Bassey. Ball's out far side for a throw-in.
Yeah, I think we've gone to a back four. You know, it'd be interesting to see. I think it's a back four because Dara O'Shea has gone quite wide and Wes Burns is quite far forward. So it's pretty much a back four.
Forward from Anderson, straight down the middle looking for Traore. Davis has to get there and does, and gets enough of his studs on that ball to put it square to Burns rather than any onrushing white shirt. Bassey stumbling and fumbling over on the far side, couldn't get a hold of the ball. It's had to play for another throw to Ipswich Town.
Well, Leif Davis did really well with the tracking down of that runner Traore, and that's what he's got to do. He's got to just decide this is very much a 1v1. If I can do the job on Traore, I think we can win the game.
Well, we know how special 2024 was for Ipswich Town Football Club. Are they about to start 2025 with a Premier League win? Taylor gets it through to Davis. Davis runs into the area. Might have a go. He does. Gets underneath it. Worth a go, though.
Yeah, he's collected the ball nicely. He's come with a steaming run and he's got himself free. You know, he needed to sort of keep it down underneath the crossbar. But there was the one thing you didn't want him to do was miss the target.
Robinson on the far side of the field. 7 minutes to go, live on BBC Radio Suffolk. 2-1 Ipswich Town lead. Both goals in the second half from penalties, given within a couple of minutes of each other. Muniz has done very well, holding the ball up on the centre spot. Wilson into the path of Traore, down the right, one-on-one with Leif Davis. Traore, the number 11, still has the ball. Jack Clark's come back to help out. That's part of his task since he came on, to help out Davis in those areas. Traore has the ball once again, faced by Clark, gets away from Clark. Left-footed cross, Walton comes, then goes backwards. Glancing header from Town, sees the ball out behind for a corner kick to Fulham.
Decent ball from the angle and good decision by Christian Walton. He decided it wasn't for him and he just checked away from it.
Corner kick to Fulham, trying to get an equaliser late in this game. Swung into the middle and straight into the hands of Christian Walton. So that'll do nicely with 6 minutes to go. Town still have scored 2 of the 3 goals.
Well done, Christian Walton, and just take your time.
Would be some return to the side for him. Town can hang on for back-to-back Premier League wins. Walton, left-footed, up through the halfway line, headed on by Burns. Delap's going to go after this one again. A match winner for Ipswich Town, potentially. Down he goes, nothing doing. Goal kick to Fulham. Town fans still packing out. Almost a half of that stand up to our left-hand side. They want Town to play in the all-pink week in, week out. Anderson, long forward for Fulham, headed on by Jimenez. The opposing number 7 is Burns, behind right back. Burns gets back and clears under the chest of Pereira. Morsey nips in there, though. Up goes Jack Clark. Ball drops down to Pereira. Approaching the final 5 minutes of normal time at Craven Cottage. Fulham have it with Bassey. Kieran McKenna's thoughts to come on BBC Radio Suffolk. Yours welcome. 0800 141 21 821. Text 81333. Start those messages. SFK, I'll get in touch with me. Head of tomorrow night's Blue Hour, Brenner at bbc.co.uk. Here are Fulham. Pereira back towards Anderson. Now Castagna. Traore on the right-hand side. Little step over, wants to take on Davis. Davis leans into him. Davis got the final touch of the ball. It's had a play for a corner to Fulham. Their 8th of the match.
Yeah, he did well. He stood his ground, and he's given away a corner, but it's better than giving away a dangerous cross.
Fulham play the corner kick short. Traore to Pereira. His attempted cross flicks off an Ipswich Town man. It's bouncing inside the 6-yard area. Cleared away eventually. Davis doesn't get the header on it. Castagna does, but it's all the way back with Leno. A few fans unhappy with that. 4 minutes to go. Fulham need the ball off to our right-hand side. Fulham in the centre of the field with Anderson. Gives it to Castagna. Now it's with Traore. Adama simply across his shoulders. In comes the number 11. Gives it to Jimenez. Adama gets it back. It's shot by Wilson against the hip of Wolfenden. That was travelling. Good block from the Ipswich Town centre half. Clark carries the ball out of play on this near side. I think we know what to expect from this final 3.5 minutes plus added on time. There'll be a lot of possession for Fulham. Trying to find openings. Bassi. Town are about to make another change on the far side of the field. Ali Al-Hamadi coming on. Fulham with Smith Rowe to the left. Robinson's high and wide cross goes out behind. That will do very nicely indeed.
Yeah, they would have put a much better ball in early on in the game when they were their tails were up and they were believing that they could win this game. That was a poor attempt at the cross.
Off goes Liam Delap, obviously a standing ovation for the man who at this point is the match winner. This, remember, would be a 3rd win in 5 games for Ipswich Town. Not that long since the Wolves victory, but to get back-to-back Premier League wins either side of the new year, if they can hang on, would be quite some achievement. So Ali Al-Hamadi back in London and on the field. One would imagine he'll start against Bristol Rovers next Sunday. Here comes Walton with this left-footed kick to the far side. Can't be kept in despite the spring of Burns. Out for a throw-in. Robinson for Fulham. Gives it to Bassi. Closed down by Taylor. Out of play for a throw to Fulham. Still 2 minutes plus added on time to go. The board will be interesting. And a fairly lengthy break for the VAR for the Ipswich Town penalty, the Fulham penalty, should I say. Anderson towards Bassi, down the line to Jimenez, beaten off the ball by Burns, finds Ali Al-Hamadi. Al-Hamadi runs in field, still has it, eventually loses out though to Jimenez. Full of running, Jimenez, he's done well. Jimenez gives it to Davis, up to Jack Clark. Town coming forward. What are they going to do here? Clark comes in field. Jack Clark of Ipswich Town shoots, hits the post. Oh, so unlucky to securing the win, the former Sunderland player.
A fabulous strike. He got into a great position. It was a terrific right-footed shot that came back off the near post.
I did wonder if they'd take it to the corner flag. He went for goal. Smith Rowe, lovely carved ball to Jimenez inside the Ipswich area. Raul Jimenez still has it. Gets the byline, dives. What's the referee said here? Penalty! It's a 3rd penalty kick in this second half. Jimenez went over the challenge of Leif Davis, and the referee once again has pointed to the spot.
He's going for the headlines, I think.
Well, Christian Walton now talking to Mr. Bond. Leif Davis has walked away from it. I don't think he can get a second yellow card, hopefully not. But what a crazy second half of football.
I think this is
Let's have another look at it.
I think it is.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Catches him. Nobody's got any complaints about this one.
No.
Wow.
It's massive contact.
Yeah, there was, wasn't there? Leif Davis caught out. Well, we've already seen 2 penalty kicks scored in this second period. Jimenez has got one of them, Delap the other. At the moment, lapse is giving Ipswich Town a 2-1 win in this game, but Jimenez has this opportunity in added-on time, just into added-on time at the end of this dramatic affair at Craven Cottage to make it 2-2. Here he comes off to our right-hand side. What can Walton do? He can't stop it. Jimenez's second penalty kick of the afternoon might well have snatched away Ipswich Town's chances of getting back-to-back Premier League wins. It's now 2-2 and added on time.
Amazing, just when we were sort of looking very, very comfortable. I mean, we've just had a shot that's come back off of the Fulham post, and that could have been 3-1. That's how comfortable we were beginning to look, and then unfortunately Leaf has given the penalty away, and it's now 2-2.
And amongst that, we didn't see 7 minutes. I've just spotted on a graphic far side to go in this game. Well, don't rule Ipswich Town out of it, but so close to 3-1 at one end. And then Fulham make it 2-2 at the other. Ball's out far side. Jimenez on a hat-trick. Fulham, of course, have still got talent out there, enough talent to go on and win this game. We're only probably not even a minute into the added-on 7 when all's said and done. Wolfenden back towards Walton. Nothing you can do about either penalty. Both were expertly dispatched by Jimenez. Disappointing the way that Town haven't been able to crack on and win this game. As things stand, must we say. Goal kick to Fulham. Quickly getting the second ball in action. TV cameras are zooming in on Liam Delap, looking rather crestfallen far side. But 2-2 away at Fulham would be a good scoreline ultimately for Ipswich Town when the dust settles. It's just at the moment it feels disappointing because Town were close to a win. Davis against Traore. Traore can have a good run at Davis. He's got the better of him. Fans stand up. In comes Adama's cross. It's a good one. The overhead attempted. What a goal that would have been to win it. Robinson, edge of the area, comes in field. He's lost it. Town get the ball away. Out as far as Morsey. In comes the sliding challenge of Pereira. Falls out of play for an Ipswich Town throw. I wouldn't rule out a fifth goal in this game for either side.
Yeah, good play by Taylor when that ball came out of the penalty area. He kept cool, and his good passes won Town a free kick. And we need the free kick. We need the game to go quiet, go settled, and just peter out, really.
Fulham want to get the ball to Traore, and every opportunity one would have caught against Davis was obviously rattled by giving away the penalty, but he's also on a yellow card, and given these conditions, Traore could have a major part to play. We have played a couple of minutes, really, of the added-on 7. Ball's out for a through to Fulham at left back. It's going to be taken by Robinson over in the far corner. Arcs his back, launches it forward. One in the air by O'Day, chested down by Dara O'Shea, and then it was a challenge by Al-Hamadi that the fourth official far side wasn't happy with. Free kick to Fulham, which Leno takes to Bassi. Looks like there isn't much left in the tank. He looks very tired. Bassi belts it long, looking towards Muniz. Muniz beats Wolfenden in the air. The ball drops to the left onto the chest of Jimenez. Players to hit in the centre. Jimenez wants to take on O'Shea. O'Shea gets back. Out the ball goes for a corner kick to Fulham.
Good one-to-one defending by Dara O'Shea. He has to give a corner away, but it could have been a lot worse.
4 minutes into the added-on 7 at the end of this game. Fulham with a 9th corner kick of the afternoon. Yet to be in front. In comes this poor corner. Wonderful as far as we're concerned. Headed away by Jack Clark. Smith Rowe gives it to Robinson. Back it goes to Smith Rowe. On the far side, Fulham have it with Pereira. Overlapping is Smith Rowe. Town with lots of players back. 4.5 minutes played of the added-on 7, although we will go beyond the 7th minute. Wilson, work still to be done. Fulham working it backwards and forwards. Fans getting frustrated, they're not knocking it into the box. And it comes eventually from Pereira, headed away by Greaves. He's won a lot in the air. Wilson nods it back into the Ipswich Town box. This time up goes O'Shea, caught by the elbow of Jimenez, who's got no sympathy for O'Shea.
We've been very, very good in the air at the back, and that we were comfortable with both those balls going into our penalty area there, and we've just won a nice little free kick that just will take this thing out of the game.
Both goals for Fulham from the penalty spot. Only 1 out of the 4 from open play. Smodix in the first half. Walton taking his time over this set piece. Town fans clapping, hoping and believing, many of them, they can see this one out. Oh, who knows? Maybe get more from the game than just a 2-2. Ball out of play far side.
Yeah, you don't want that.
Town player went up and over. I think it was Burns over the top of the Fulham man. 90 seconds of the added on 7 initially to go. Muniz looked like a handball. No, not given. Must have been the flick on from his head. Town win it in midfield. Well done, Jack Taylor, getting a hold of things. He goes back. Oh! Wilson was almost there to touch it beyond Walton. Jack Taylor. That wasn't good for the heart. He's now apologising to Walton. He clearly didn't see Wilson, and a player a little bit taller than Harry Wilson might have got something on that and diverted it beyond Christian Walton. 96 minutes played in this match. Is it going to end 2-2? Bassey goes long for Fulham. Greaves heads it down. Looked like a handball from Wolfenden. It's not been given. It definitely hit his hand in the penalty area. Play continues. Wow. He couldn't have taken a third penalty against Town. Here comes Robinson on the left-hand side. Can Town see this game out? Bassey is elected not to cross. Robinson does. Into the Ipswich area it comes. Away by O'Shea. Well defended. Out on the far side for another Fulham throw. Into the final 30 seconds.
I hope they don't 7. Look at this. No,
it wasn't.
No.
Good call from the referee in VAR. Wide on the left, Robinson knocks the ball into the Ipswich Town penalty area. Up comes Walton Wellhand. That will do nicely, and hopefully that should enable Town to see this one over the line. It will be a valuable point in West London. What a second half. Walton has the ball off to our right-hand side. Still no sign of the whistle just yet. Big kick from him. Al-Hamidi goes after it. Bassey with the header. Phillips wrestles Smith through to the deck. Referee says play on. Walton's going to let the ball go out behind for a goal kick off the deck. No, he's not. He has actually blown up for the free kick to Fulham way inside their half of the field after all of that. Final chance for Fulham, surely. They've gone 30 seconds beyond the added on 7 minutes at the end of this game. Leno knocks it forward off to our right. Still no sign of the full-time whistle just yet. Ball comes off the backside of Davis. Muniz shoots. Oh, it's saved by Walton. On his near post, he had to be very alert. Well done, Christian Walton.
Yeah, he had to be really sharp, and that was a dodgy one to deal with.
And that's it. No back-to-back wins for Ipswich. Sounds so close. They led this one 2-1, heading into added-on time at the end of this match at Craven Cottage. But Fulham scored their second penalty kick of the second period to make the final score here. 2-2, so both games this season between Fulham and Ipswich Town have ended up all square.
Yeah, it's difficult to say, you know, whether you're sort of pleased or disappointed, really. You would have been pleased with a point coming down here, but there was an incredible chance to take 3 on 2 occasions, really. But it went against us, and in the end, you know, maybe if you take stock of the whole contest, then a draw is a fair result, but it could so easily have been better. There's no doubt about it. We've played very, very well. We've got lots of things, you know, positives. Goalkeeper's done well again. The back 5 have been pretty excellent all the way through. Maybe, you know, Leif Davis has got his challenge wrong for the last penalty. But generally speaking, the back 5 were really good. They headed an enormous amount of balls out of the penalty area from crosses. They filled all the holes that Fulham were looking for and searching for. The midfield did improve. I thought we weren't very good in the centre of midfield and further forward in wide areas. Early on we weren't particularly good, but we slowly but surely got those 4 positions going better. And I thought in the second half, you know, when Fulham have changed their system, gone to a back 4, brought an extra sort of midfield player on, I felt that it worked more in favour of Town than it did in favour of Fulham. And that was probably our best time. We had dealt with the system change, we had dealt with the personnel change, and we were beginning to look slightly the better side. Fulham were looking very disillusioned at that stage. The crowd had gone quiet. This had all the markings of an away victory at that one stage in the second half, and it almost came our way. Unfortunately it didn't, but this is a decent sort of result on top of the Chelsea win, a draw away at Fulham. We are now beginning to pick up points consistently and regularly, and that's the most important thing. So, we've performed well since the drubbing that we took off of Newcastle. Decent performance. It was almost like a learning curve at Arsenal with the new system, and we dealt with it nicely at Arsenal. We kept it down to a minimum there. We played very well against Chelsea, and we've dealt with a good Fulham team here today at Craven Cottage. So, I think things are looking up.
Any quibble over Jack Clarke having that shot at the end rather than trying to kill time by the corner flag? Because I think when the ball came out, that's when Fulham broke and got their penalty kick.
Yeah, I think he was in a wonderful position, and that was a good breakaway by us, and Leif Davis was involved in it. He got himself high up the pitch, but in the end, Jack Clarke steps inside. He's stepping in onto his best foot. He's only literally 18 yards from goals, and it was clear in front of him. It was on to take a shot, and let's be fair, he was only an inch out of actually putting us 3-1 in front. So I think the decision was the right one. It was a very positive position to be in. You can't go from that position to working it over into the corner flag. I know now, in hindsight, you would have probably said, yeah, that's exactly what we should have done, but he could easily have put us 3-1 in front. So no, we did well. The subs come on, they did well for everybody. We were very organised, and the back five.
You like that back five, don't you? This system that they're playing now with the three centre halves.
Well, I think it's necessary, Brenner. I think that I've watched a lot of the games sort of early on, and there were so many gaps when I just sort of cringed when I saw Leif Davis going marauding off down the left touchline. We know he's very good at it, but at this level he was sort of being followed a little bit by Cameron Burgess. That left just sort of Dara O'Shea in the centre, and then on the right hand side was Harry Clarke, not knowing where he was supposed to go, and those three ended up stretched from the left touchline to the right touchline. The spaces between them were far too great, and I think they were constantly being exploited, and if we had persisted on playing that way, I think we would have been taken by most teams in this division. But we decided to go with the extra defender. It filled holes. We've become much closer together, tighter. Certainly in free play, we have sort of blocked all the holes across that sort of area of the pitch. But then you get the added bonus of where, particularly today, where Fulham were sort of throwing a lot of diagonal balls into the box. Having those three centre halves in there as opposed to two is working a treat.
And where does Ben Godfrey fit in then? He's obviously going to become an Ipswich Town player this month. How do you feel about that move?
Well, I'm not sure that we needed another one, but fine if he wants to come and sort of be part of the group that's going to be selected at the back of the team, back end of the team, then fine. He'll cover injuries, he'll cover loss of form, he'll cover lack of numbers. That's fine for me. I don't think that's where we particularly needed our first signing to be, but it's been made. The problem with January is finding players that first of all are available. That's the most difficult thing. He was available, and if we had hesitated, maybe somebody else would have taken him. So I think we've decided it's better to have one extra number, not particularly rectify the main areas that we should be strengthening, which I think is central midfield. But he'll be a bonus to us. He's here, he wants to play, he's a decent player. It's nice to have him as part of our numbers.
Thanks, Mick. Mick hanging around to take your calls along with Graham on 0800 141 2121. I'm going to go down and literally wander towards the cottage here at Craven Cottage. There is one, it does exist, to hopefully get some words with Kieran McKenna on his side. 2-2 draw here this afternoon.